Welcome back, everybody. We're back on Mind of an Entrepreneur. Here I am with Cory from All-in-One Inspections. How you doing, Cory?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing great, thank God. I just wanted to introduce everyone to you. You do a lot of great things, but the one I want to talk to you about today is your company, All-in-One Inspections. So where do you service? Why did you get started? Let's hear about it.
Okay. All-in-One Inspections. It's an environmental company, so we specialize in water intrusion, mold, lead, asbestos, oil tank sweeps, all of the really fun stuff when it comes into, purchasing real estate, commercial stuff. On a whim, a buddy of mine, we were talking about 2 years ago, and he was always shopping around business ideas for him and I to start. And I pulled the trigger and he didn't.
Yeah.
And the rest is kind of history.
You took the leap.
Yeah.
So what made you really make the leap? Like, what was the moment you decided, like, this is going to be the thing I do? And when did you get started?
So August of 24, so almost about 2 years, there was a home inspection report on my house, and they recognized mold.
Okay.
I went back, looked at the samples, looked at the home inspection report. I contacted the lab and saw the pricing and the margins and the percentage and said, hey, this is a pretty good business model.
Yeah.
Essentially saw something that worked well and stole it.
Hey, listen, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The wheel works just fine.
Right.
And you can perfect the wheel, though. So how have you seen the industry change since you joined in 2024? I'm sure that there's been a lot of changes in just the 2 years. And you just do home and building inspections? Are you a home inspector, or are you doing buildings as well? Like, define what you do.
So not a licensed home inspector. So it's strictly, I am a industrial hygienist. So I have certifications in asbestos building inspection, mold certificates, water intrusion. There are companies that will have a hygienist in-house and also do remediation. We have found that is extremely unethical. And I've seen some really bad stuff where people are, kind of throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks, and they book a gig. I work with companies who only remediate. Okay. So they refer me work. I only inspect and test. That way it's, clear cut.
No conflict of interest there at all. You guys are working independently, so that way the customer or the client is getting the best service. Correct.
Yeah. I do have a home inspection background, volunteer firefighter in Shrewsbury, so I've been around building construction for quite some time.
Oh, so I didn't even know you were a volunteer fireman. Like, how'd you get into that?
We'll do the long story short sort of thing.
Okay. All right.
So in the midst of starting the business, my daughter got extremely sick, and we were in the midst of going to New York Presbyterian. We fell in the hands of Dr. Satwani, who was a medicine man and healed my daughter.
Wow.
He is now doing global stuff and trying to heal the children around the world.
Wow, that's amazing.
So when Andy was sick and I was kind of figuring out what was going on, I pulled the trigger. And then when she got better, I decided to do Fire Academy and get Fire 1 and 2 and volunteer. So kind of like my give back for the healing process.
That's amazing. That's amazing. A lot of people don't think that way, and I'm glad that you did, because you're a resource to the community as well. That's served you. You serve the community, it serves you. I like that symbiotic relationship right there. Yeah.
So like, since joining Agora, and even on the call today, and certain people that are in this room right now, and just in general, the common ideologies, and I would say everyone that I come across, it's people who want to give back, people who are kind, people who are creative, people who, I haven't got a really bad vibe from anyone.
I think it's that we have a commitment to being our best selves. And when you are around people that want to be their best version of themselves, we constantly want to push each other. If someone is giving back, it's a healthy competition. Say, like, how much can I give back now? If they can do it with their situation, how much more can I do? And that's a mentality that I've seen from day one of joining this group. And I'm very blessed to say that this podcast is a result of that. A lot of the great things in my life have been coming from just surrounding myself with better people, right? People who want to give back, who are driven. So who are some of those people for you? What do you consider, from the call this morning, just now we were talking about friendships. Are there friends in your community that you've leaned on that you would say are the people that have partly responsible for where you're sitting today?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to narrow it down. Because of my background, I have an electrical background, home inspection. I was an educator for quite some time. I used to counsel and case manage inmates up in Newark and Kearney. I was a bartender. I mean, jack of all trades, master of none, which is like people kind of riff on that.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm able to have conversations or talk to people about a wide range of things because I've experienced a lot.
A lot of life experience.
Right. So with that being said, the guys in the group, you have people from all walks.
Absolutely.
Come from different situations, whether it was addiction or family issues or whatever. And I just think it's, men trying to do better, men who are vulnerable, which is nice to see.
Yep.
Right.
We're actually human. We're not just putting up on a story on social media. We're all majority of us are a bunch of men that have their own businesses, have been through the shit, to say the very least, the trials and tribulation of becoming an entrepreneur. And now on the other side, we have a bunch of people that we can relate to, people that have been through certain of the hurdles that we face every single day and can have that wisdom in order to share with each other. So now the next guy doesn't have to go through it as bad. And also it's just a lonely road, I would have to say. When you're constantly trying to improve yourself, not many people are committed to excellence because it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of sleepless nights. It takes time away from the family that you're trying to work so hard to give this to. So when you have another person next to you that's doing a very similar thing, maybe in their own business, it brings you comfort. It brings you like, hey, I have community here that I can lean on when I need it. But most of the time, we're high performers. We don't need the community, but it's nice to see that it's there.
Yeah.
And that we can bounce ideas off each other.
Yeah, I mean, some of the stuff that guys speak about, it's like, you think you're doing the best thing possible when you have a lot of stuff in the pipeline and, the inputs are there and you're getting the outputs, right? But then as an entrepreneur and certain things, it's like, we could take the day off and go paintballing.
Yeah. Now, that was an amazing event too,
Right.
and that also made me step back and realize, well, that was like a random Thursday, right? What other organization and what other time in our lives could we just say, hey, I'm going to take a few hours and go play paintballing in the middle of a Thursday in the summer.
Right.
And people who work 9 to 5s, people who are married to their job or married to their businesses, they wouldn't be able to see the benefit of that, right? But when you have the perspective knowing when to play and work, and Bart and I talked about the chase in a previous episode, about how a lot of high-performing men are addicted to the chase. We were forced, basically, by choosing it, to be outside of work. I'm thinking about, how am I going to shoot you? That's what I'm thinking about. I'm not thinking about all the clients that I want to get back to, thinking in my head, thinking that this deal's not going fast enough. I'm thinking about now, I'm having fun with my friends. And at the end of the day, we're all going back to our businesses. And that feels good,
Yeah.
knowing that I'm not alone in that.
Yeah, I mean, I bring up the quote, a lot with Alan Watts, like, the eternal now, right? Or like the only purpose to live is just to be alive. And that hits kind of hard for some people because it's Chad Boski brought up like The Molecule of More, which is a book, right? So like that chase of dopamine, that next hit. Men primarily, and not to be sexist, but like the hunter-gatherer, right? The evolution, you got to provide and hunt and all that stuff. And it's nice to talk to some of the younger guys in the group because I would say elder, because I'm 43 in the group. Like the younger guys, like 28, 30, stuff like that. A lot of them put a little too much pressure on themselves to be successful and to accrue more, when I try to just tell them, like, you could just not do anything today.
Yeah, you could.
You could just not do anything.
And that's not a particular bad thing. I think we hold a lot of meaning because but life has very little meaning at times, and we can be okay with that. But when you're constantly searching for it, you try to press, and I've caught myself, but it's also great perspective for you to realize, what? I graduated from that. I've seen the everyday grind of the, pretty much projecting that, I don't take any days off, on the big social media trend is to show everyone that you're constantly at work. In reality, that's not life.
No.
That's not life at all. That's just a perception that society wants to put out there. Reality, I mean, you could literally have it all. You can have a good work-life balance. You could be a high performer, and you don't always have to be on the clock.
Correct. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, the conversation just before with Andrew, right?
Yeah.
You were talking about the stuff, the outputs.
Yep.
But the way I look at it, and my father said this repeatedly the past couple of years, he's like, dude, you're fine.
Yeah.
You have enough coals in the fire.
Yep.
Focus on the inputs. The outputs will come.
Process, not the result. right? We perfect the process, and the results are really a lot of times not up to us. I know in my business, I could be working with a great client for months, and if something on the other side or their financing falls through, did I do something wrong? No. But did the result that I wanted happen? Also no. So it challenges you to realize that, hey, sometimes things are just out of your control, but you can rest easy knowing that you did everything in your control to get everything done. But if you're attached to the results, or if you celebrate too early in this business, they'll kill you, because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I've had a buyer die on me, before the closing table. And we were the sellers, and we just put another $7,000 worth of renovations into a home.
Right, based on a home inspection.
Based on a home inspection, we were ready to go. And then 4 days before closing, the guy dies.
Right.
And do we have any recourse? Are we really going to go after somebody who just dies, estate for a contract? No, we had to take our lumps and get back out there. And when people asked us, we had to be honest, be like, hey, sorry, we did everything correctly, and the reason why it didn't sell is the guy literally passed away. There was nothing we could do about it.
Yeah.
So, those are challenges that if you were so attached to the result, you wouldn't be getting out of bed.
Correct, yeah.
And it's really tough. So I have a couple more questions that I want to ask you. First of which, do you have any books that you recommend to anyone that's trying to start a business, or someone who can relate to you, which is a lot of people?
I'm all over the spectrum. I went anywhere from fantasy when I was younger, comic books, stuff like that. Everyone loves a good, win story, right?
Yeah.
So rock bottom to coming close. I would just, the whole self-improvement realm, Latzow, anything Alan Watts.
That's something that I have to look into more. I haven't read anything by Alan Watts, actually.
Yeah, so Alan Watts, there's a meditation by Proctor, things where it's get that ego death. Realize that
very important, especially in business.
Right. Realize that you're not important.
Yep.
Because we're not.
Nope.
Okay. And then just realize that the only purpose for me and kind of what I learned through my daughter, through Andy's stuff was where there's light, there's going to be darkness. So when you touched up on the fakeness of society and stuff like that, people don't really show the dark side of stuff, but without light, there's not dark, and vice versa.
How do you know there's a good time unless you experience bad times?
Right.
Right. So it's all about perspective, and every piece of adversity has a lesson behind it. Sometimes it takes some time to kind of reflect and kind of digest what just happened, but then you look to see, what is the lesson here?
Right.
What is this trying to teach me? And getting to that level of enlightenment can only be done by talking to people, getting that wisdom, and getting more perspective from other people. Because if you just are in your own head all the time, you're going to think that everything is happening to you and not for you. When a lot of these things are happening for you, you just have to be able to step back and see the vision.
Yeah. And another thing too, my father-in-law said this multiple times, and I play instruments and he's a musician, and people want that quick fix or that
instant gratification.
Right. And what he always said was, if you want to try something out or get good at something, you need 10,000 hours. So,
the Malcolm Gladwell,
yeah,
he made popular, but I'm sure a bunch of people have said this now.
Right. Give it a shot.
Yeah.
Right? You don't think you can play the piano, or you don't think you can write a book or do something, give it at least 10,000 hours to see if it's worth it for you.
And that's great perspective. And now, where can people find you as far as your business? Where could they look you up?
Allinoneinspections.org. On Instagram, Cory Pedalino. I service primarily Monmouth and Ocean County.
Okay.
I do cover the whole state. I have contacts with Rob Leinart Restoration, MMRG, Dry Medic. I'm a Keller Williams exclusive, which you are a real estate agent for.
Keller Williams, yep.
Work with Heritage House, and then I'm actually in the process of getting vetted from First On Site, which is the #1 remediation company in the country. Which it's the paperwork's in and all of that. So
I'm looking forward to seeing that announcement. So I'm going to make sure that I have you back on when those progress. I want to see some updates. Part of being a great entrepreneur is the story, right? People relate to your story a lot more than you just telling them how great you are, right? When someone hears your story, they can see the man behind the business and what you've been through and how they can relate to you. And they're going to, if they really got to know you like I do, then they're going to be like, there's no other choice. So I'm happy that you came on today, and I'm looking forward to having you back. So before we leave, is there any piece of advice, a podcast that you would recommend for the viewers out there?
My wife is a therapist. She specializes in children and adolescents. And I guess my advice is just see the glass half full and be grateful for what you have.
It's great, yeah.
And the two words that she uses quite often, and I try to, I wake up excited. Sometimes I have trouble falling asleep because I'm excited for the next day. And that has a lot to do with, situations like this, the opportunities that are coming up. But the two words is just, be kind and be curious. You can learn a lot more by being quiet and listening to other people.
Yeah, I think we can all be better listeners, myself included. I feel like one of the reasons that I did this was that it's going to literally force me to listen to other people. I can't be talking by myself all day. I have to hear what you have to say to get my next question. So it's just a great training to hear because, you're not always right. And the loudest room in the voice usually isn't the right one, right? So if you can listen to others, maybe some people who have more wisdom in a certain area, then you learn so much more and you become that much better of a person. So thank you, Cory. You were a joy to have on the podcast.
Thank you.
I'm definitely going to have you on it again soon, see what your updates are. But if they want to find you, they can go on Instagram and All-in-One Inspections.
Yep.
Is that the name of is it All-in-One Inspections NJ or?
Yeah, if you search Google, right, All-in-One Inspections, Shrewsbury, it'll come up. I mean, 2 years in business, over 50 5-star reviews, honest, fair, ethical, all that good stuff. So.
And I can speak on that. I'm looking forward to using you in the future.
Okay. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.
All right.